You know, the average American experience, like, I don't know, just pulling one name out of a hat, Patrick Bateman.
Taking seats in there like, spaghetti pomodoro again, sir. Oh, sir is a terribly messy eater.
I think there is a thing in some places in Australia and New Zealand where they really believe, like, when people in the rest of the world talk about cities, that wherever they're from gets mentioned.
Yeah.
So in their heads, there's people out there going, God, I'd love to go to, London, Paris, New York, Shanghai, Adelaide.
Yeah.
And you go,
Canberra.
yeah. And you go, I mean, they might. It's not that they guarantee they won't, but come on, mate.
Yeah, not really.
Come on.
It's like the way when Americans say where they're from when they're abroad. They'll go like, "Oh, we're from Des Moines," and it's like you're gonna have to. Like, we don't have that in-depth
That's
fucking
just annoying.
yank knowledge.
If you're not from New York or LA or the bits on the edge,
yeah.
You're gonna need to have
If
Texas.
it's not a top 5 city, you've got to be specific.
We're actually from outside Des Moines, but we'll say Des Moines because we know that you'll know.
Yeah.
Well, are you from? Is that a thing? You're from Des Moines?
God.
No.
Sorry, I thought I was missing an inside joke there.
We just
it's
just
funny.
did a thing before about how she's not American.
Yeah, no, I know I come across as American. I'm not even a little bit
You
American.
watched a lot of Friends when you were younger.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had really bad parents. I'm originally from Russia, but I live here. But I went to an
nice.
American school here, so that's why I sound this way.
And
Sorry,
that's
we don't
also
have
why
to
you're
keep-
called Olga, I suppose.
Yes, yes,
It's
yeah.
all making sense.
Oh, I
Where are you
hate
from?
Friends class. Just bringing in the video. every
Today
day.
we're going to discuss the Joeification of Joey, which is a bit. Have you ever noticed that?
What, the Joeification of Joey?
Yeah.
Look, I don't watch Friends. I'm one of the guys that will just be like, look,
It's something
No
you,
friends.
you might have noticed with Homer Simpson.
sorry.
If you have a character in a sitcom that's stupid,
Yeah.
the main thing is that they're kind of a bit of a goof.
Yeah.
They have to get stupider as the show goes on.
Yeah.
So if you watch an old episode of The Simpsons, Homer's just like, well, of course it's a good discount. And it's like,
Right.
oh, that's kind of like, oh, it's a naive maybe.
Yeah.
And you watch it now and he's like, me no read. Like he's like,
Oh.
it gets worse and worse because the jokes have to get more and more extreme.
He's got a brain
It
parasite.
it's but also because Dan Castellaneta is so fucking old.
Yeah.
It sounds like Homer's brain is withering inside his
Right.
skull.
So he's getting thicker, and The
Yeah.
Simpsons is starting to become a
Yeah.
lot harder to watch.
Which just
I
a bit, it's
see.
an odd thing.
And that's not even about the writing. It's just if you have a dumb character that goes forever, they have to get dumber because
have
you
to get
have to
dumber.
find new places to go.
Yeah,
and the guys are getting
I'm
old.
sort of that person for the podcast. What is this microphone? Thank you.
Yeah, like series 1 of
Yeah.
Friends, Joey's like, I don't exactly read. And
But-
then later on, he's like, blah, 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 blah. Like he's barely using human
But
words.
is Joeification like the actual? That's where.
That's what I've decided to call
Okay.
I like it.
'Cause
I
I didn't
like
know
it a
if this
lot.
was something
I
they're
think it is.
teaching in.
It's a phenomenon that's
media
been
classes,
discussed.
you know.
It should be
Yeah.
in Friends class in your
Friends
American
class.
school.
Yes,
Well, it's
yes.
definitely a module.
Yeah. When they get to sixth form, kids,
Yeah. You know,
kids
There's
can't
no
really handle
fourth
the
wall
sinister.
in the classroom. It's freezing.
The problem is
Do up your
everybody-
bow tie, boy. What do you think this is? Friends class? You're in Frasier class. We're on a tight ship in Frasier class.
The problem is everybody keeps dropping Frasier class by year 10, and now we don't have enough Frasier graduates to actually keep the economy going. You know?
Keep teaching it.
They're talking about wanting to have more sort of hard skills in the UK, and yet they make Frasier class optional after GCSEs. It's crazy.
Backwards.
Now, Michael, who's scared of fireworks, go over there and sit next to Mick, who's scared of screaming.
I don't know enough about Frasier to join the riff,
Yeah,
but I
I
am
was
enjoying
just-
it.
There
But
we
I am
go.
enjoying it.
Do you have a sitcom that you watch or rewatch a lot?
Peep Show's obviously the
Yes.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
the
Yeah.
rewatched
Yeah.
rewatched.
Okay.
But
Isn't there the
Patriotic
Swan and
answer.
Pedo around the
A
corner?
patriotic answer.
yeah, I mean, look, hey, I'm a true Brit, but also
This-
How Not to Live Your Life. I've been watching quite a lot recently.
Oh,
The
yes,
Dan
yes.
Dan Clark.
I don't know that
Yes.
one.
It was on like, I'm assuming BBC Three.
Okay.
And it had 2 or 3 series.
Yeah.
It was very stupid. It was like the pretty basic concept. This guy on his own lives in a house like that he's inherited from his nan,
Right.
and then like every now and again it would be like, here are 3 things that I could do in this moment, and it would be like, then it would become like a little sketch, but it was a sitcom,
Okay.
and there was obviously a woman in it that was way too attractive for him.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of
tropes.
But it's a good one actually.
Is Peep Show the Hangover rewatch for psychological comfort?
I feel like Peep Show's definitely not psychological.
No, I was going to say it's
comfort
too
on
horrible.
Well, it's weird because I've got a half brother who's he's a bit older than me. He's like 46, 47, and he used to tell me when I started watching Peep Show when I was probably like, I don't know, 13 or something.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, it's going to get really depressing for you," and I was like, "No, it's not going to get really depressing for me." And now I'm like nearing 30. I'm like, oh. Like every now and again, it's not like that bad, but like sometimes I'll be watching and I'll be like,
oh no,
oh okay, no, you were actually right there. This is kind of.
It was a drama all along.
Once like friends of yours start moving to Croydon, and then you're like, oh fuck.
It's weird how I don't know, like obviously the observational comedy, and the characters in that, you think, oh, they're ridiculous, and then you fucking meet them, like Rainbow Rhythms.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
That's
like
real.
that's a real thing. That's happening in Dalston.
Yeah, we've all met super hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Several times.
I think I know 3 super hands. Like
3 supers hands.
Yeah, superb hands. But it's not very comforting though.
No, on a hangover,
No.
the existential dread of
What are
it would be
yours,
too
Pierre?
much.
Yeah.
U.S. Office is very sort of
Yeah.
jingly jangly and wholesome and nice. Parks and Rec,
Basically
same
the same
vibe,
thing,
same
isn't it?
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing. But here's in the Midwest.
People being kind of nice. A show that's supposed to be about dysfunction, but that because it's written by Americans ends up with people being nice to one another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I find
Yeah.
the later seasons specifically of Parks and Rec quite insufferable because they're also lovey-dovey friendly.
And they're obsessed with the American comedy thing is that everyone has to be redeemable in some way, like in their soul.
Yeah.
But the way that Americans show redeemability is by someone having a savant-like skill that is only discovered later on.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So like Thicko Johnson turns out to be an incredible concert pianist for no reason. And they all go, it's okay that he's so thick and smelly. He's good at something to an elite level.
Thicko Johnson is a believable like 50s blues musician name though. Gotta go and see old Thicko Johnson.
Yeah.
No one ever seen a Johnson like it. He's like a tree stump.
Jody Johnson.
Don't forget to tip him with a gram of heroin.
I was reading the other day about was it Charlie Parker?
Mhm.
I didn't know that he was on a lot of heroin.
All of
There
them.
you
are.
go. I had no
Miles
idea.
Davis.
All of them.
Bill Evans.
Yeah. Maddie
Yeah.
Healy, they're all on it.
It's a bit more noticeable. Than some of them.
What's that fucking hell, that movie that's like set during the big New Folk explosion that Bob Dylan made his name in. And Gwyn Evans or whatever. The guy's got a Welsh
Inside
name.
Llewyn Davis.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why his
I've
like
not
kind
seen
of
that one.
jazz, kind of blues impresario guy, big fat guy, is just obsessed with heroin. In
Yeah.
that film. That's the heroin subplot.
Yeah,
That's how
everyone-
much of a thing at jazz and blues, just heroin.
Okay, here's a genuine crank theory I have is that music has gotten worse because people aren't on enough Class A drugs.
I would agree.
I really think they had more source. Like even Ray Charles was on heroin. I feel like you're just not getting invited to so many wrong side of the tracks things when you're blind. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, that he
you're
might
rich.
be a bit of a liability in a wrong side of the tracks scenario.
You'd have to
in
feel
a running from the cops down an alley scenario.
Surely you're already rich and famous enough that people are inviting you sort of to the various
heroin parties.
Yeah, I
But
guess so.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you feel, even if you were a very pro heroin user, wouldn't there be a stab of
Which I am.
of concern and guilt as you help a blind guy guide the needle into his arm? Isn't that the moment where you go, no, let me? Am I a good person? Just as you,
I mean, there's
He's
certainly
the
a moral
dog's not
argument.
having any.
Yeah, there we go.
the dog sober.
Sort of perversely, it's the best type of guy to be on heroin because the dog just takes over. Like you can
leaves
just,
him home.
Yeah.
Can I add to your theory? With
Okay, yeah.
One of my own that is very similar, and I think they work together.
Mm-hmm.
Music is worse because there aren't enough Class A drugs. That's your theory.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that music is worse because school is less strict. And a lot of really good music
Ooh.
comes from rebelling against stuff.
Right.
And a
Okay,
lot of the
you're
best
all-
generation of musicians comes from like that era where school, like they still kind of wore capes and could hit you with sticks and stuff.
They're
And so
not beating musicians enough.
Well, that's it. I think you need a kind of rigid system that fills you with a kind of rebellious rage.
These poets aren't tortured anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, they're all happy. All the poems are about how nice bread is. This is no good at all.
Okay, you might be right, but I know that Milo has both done poppers and listened to Brat by Charlie XCX, so I'm very confused that you feel this way.
Yeah,
I'm so confused
I'm
by
sorry.
Brat by Charlie.
You don't like
XCX.
Brat?
I
He likes
feel
Brat.
I feel utterly opposite to you. I was when I run, I tend to listen to the pop songs of today.
There's the oldest sounding thing.
Yeah.
The
All right, Granddad.
pop songs of
When I
today.
run,
Have you heard about this? Take that.
for example, there are lots of Spotify playlists that are really good for running, such as Slutty Gay Club Mix.
Yeah.
Great for running.
Troy Sivan.
Things such as this. And and it just sort of occurred to me how much better because if I'm imagining what is getting played in, I don't know, your average year 10 dance
Yeah.
or whatever, it's probably not a million miles away from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's your various Sabrina's Carpenter and things such as this.
Yeah, from
I
the
was-
Carpenters.
I
She
was
went
just
so
I,
low.
I
Yeah.
was
Drummer in the Carpenters.
I was running recently and was just reflecting on how much better the production is on these songs than the equivalent songs for when we were that age.
I'm Team Riley. I'm Team Riley. You're being old right now. You're
No.
giving old.
Production. Well, I mean, obviously, like technology is better, like recording technology is better. But
Well,
I feel
even
like
just
actually,
like production has just come leaps and bounds ahead also into what envelopes people are willing to push with it. I mean, the big innovation was, of course, PC music, right? That was the thing that changed production in pop music.
The reason you guys think this, I think, is because you like genres of music that have maintained a high level of output and quality consistently from when they were
What's your
invented.
favorite kind of genre of music?
Well, like you're not there's like no big new rock bands.
I was just going to say, I think
metal
we've
and
moved
stuff like
too
that.
far away from the drugs again. Because basically, I think also they weren't new drugs, but now there's no real new drugs. You got that pink stuff.
There's research chemicals.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
but
what kind of music-
Valium's not going to make being able to get prescription drugs quicker.
Yeah.
That's not
What-
going to make
what
a
kind
good
of-
album.
what kind
the
of
Doors
music-
aren't going to fucking pop Xanax, and
Yeah.
it needs to be heroin.
no,
Yeah.
no
With-
one's going
with
to take
acid.
Valium and bite the head off a bat.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Imagine if Ozzy was a fan of Valium.
Yeah.
Sharon,
I'm sorry, like Sharon, you've got to help
He's not raising hell.
Yeah, that's the thing. What kind of musical boundaries are you going to push using an instrument that you can touch while on 2CB?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys miss rock music, I think, and you're gonna be like, ooh, no, but then when you actually listen to it, you will believe me. You need to get into like country, Americana, and folk. That's where all the rock that you think is.
no,
so like
no.
Tyler Childers, Zach Bryan, you will love that shit.
I like folk. And I like
Yeah, I
neo
think
folk,
you'd
but
really
like
like it.
the closest thing to it now is what we're talking about. It's like what the Snuts.
The Snuts.
Who the
Excuse
fuck
me?
are the Snuts?
The Snuts.
No.
Did you-
I'm way out of the loop when it comes to
The
music.
Canadian
But like,
Smurfs.
my
It's a band, probably.
a friend of mine works for a large music company, and that is a genuine problem that they have, where like their big like internal memo is like, yeah, the fucking R&B stuff and the techno and like, everything else is cooking. Like we've got like 7 very hot ladies doing albums that like go platinum immediately.
Yeah.
There are no bands of like new bands of like 4 guys from the north of England blowing up and
And
doing
how's that an
stadiums.
issue?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I mean. You guys just like computer music
I'm
and
fine.
sexy lady
Yeah.
dance time.
They're like,
Okay.
like, yeah,
That's-
they're like,
You're being catered to. So
Okay,
you're just
no,
like, this
I
is
think-
great. I live in heaven.
4 lads from the north need to start doing sexy lady
Yeah.
pop
But you guys have like
music.
Fountains DC.
That's from
Yeah,
Ireland.
they're from
Yeah, but
Ireland.
like they're that genre that you want.
They are
That's
actually.
one.
That's a very
There you
good point.
go.
You've actually
Okay.
Listen to
good
that.
point.
Listen to Kendrick.
Shame
Listen
as
to
well.
Mitski. Listen to Maggie Rogers. Shut the fuck
Yeah.
There
up.
needs to be more.
I
there
will
needs to be
admit-
more than just one.
there is also there's a hole in my theory, which is that I feel like
You listen to Bryan Adams.
yeah, it's great. Then
I've
like,
never seen more of an accusation. You listen to Bryan Adams
because I'm paid to by the Canadian government.
The jury just gasping as this information is revealed.
Well, what's the
guy.
theory?
There's a
of-
hole in my theory, which is that I feel like the 1975 did do a lot of heroin and have produced no memorable music.
But they're very big though.
Yeah,
They are
it's
big.
inoffensive music. You don't listen to it and you're like, oh, this is bad. You just listen to it and you're like,
Okay,
all of
Kendrick
these sound the
literally
same.
called Drake a pedophile. How more offended do you want to be? Guys,
It's
I
not
feel
about offensiveness.
No, I'm talking about the
But you're-
1975 specifically.
But you're saying stuff from a different genre. What we want is the entire menu available to us. We're saying there's items
Wait, of
missing from the
drugs or
menu.
music.
Is it your
We're saying there's
thing?
no dessert on this menu, and you're going, have a second roast.
No,
And
no,
you
I
go, no, I want a
Pierre,
dessert.
Pierre, hold on.
You're like, give me 4 white boys, and I'm struggling.
Pierre, hold on. Are
Name
you
4 white
saying
men.
are you saying no to a second roast?
That's besides the point. I want options.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say. I don't want to have to say yes to my second roast.
Look,
I want to say yes to it in spite of there being.
You want affirmative
Deserve.
roast consent.
you want
You don't want to be being talked into a second
No.
roast.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
be
yeah.
you want to be like, you know what? I can't decide between the sort of carved beef rump and the pork chop. I'm gonna have both.
Yeah.
But then I want the sticky toffee pudding after.
Yeah.
Or the option to turn it
Who
down.
would be
Yeah.
I mean,
Sabrina's carpenter?
Yeah.
Or
whoever.
Death Grips?
Charlie's ex. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
I don't.
Jack White's still making music. Listen to him.
Yeah.
Old.
Yeah.
Where's the new
Jesus.
stuff?
The Arctic
Unfortunately-
Monkeys, to be
Could be
fair.
new.
Arctic Monkey's still making music.
I
and they
really, I
shouldn't
really
be.
do hate
And
to
they
give.
shouldn't be.
I really
Arctic
do
Monkey's
hate to
old.
give the
Yeah.
economic answer to this, but it is because it's just no one can afford to do it anymore.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah.
that's the big
No,
issue.
because you overdid it. You were like 4, let's make it 20. Arcade Fire happened. None of them made money. They had to. They had to
Yeah,
strip it
yeah.
back.
Their problem was 2 drummers. They
Mm.
were like, okay, we're art school kids and we're going to start a band. There's going to be 42 of us and there's going to be 2 of the one thing that you only really need.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
of. Like, you can
yeah.
have 4 guitarists in a band. Shit, you can have an orchestra. but don't put 2 fucking drum kits on
Yeah.
stage because you don't need to.
11 bassists.
Yeah.
Bell and Sebastian's monocle fell out when they saw the Arcade Fire lineup.
Yeah. And then there was like Edward Chart, the Magnetic Zeros, and
Oh, yeah.
the Zeros was the amount of money they were making because they were splitting it 18 ways.
Yeah, the economics is so bad that Sam Fender has to keep making the same song.
That's
Apparently,
true.
Sam Fender's new album's really good. You listen to that.
I have
Well, the
listened to
Brits
that.
there
told
you
me
go.
it
But
was.
it's like a kind of.
It sounds like the
acoustic guitar
previous
guy on his own.
Jesus fucking Christ!
That's
I'm
not-
trying.
He's not a rock band.
He's one guy.
He's not a rock band. He's a little man
He's-
on his own.
he's not
singing
the best
Oh, do you
Clapton
remember?
North.
act.
Do you remember a couple of years ago?
He's from
they
the
were
north, though, so it's
didn't-
close.
Didn't they
4 Fenders.
AI a new Beatles song for that documentary?
Yes,
Oh,
they
fuck.
did. And it was nominated
Yeah.
for a Brit. And obviously it didn't fucking get it.
No.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it's 4 blokes
the
from the north. What more do you want, really? We're doing our best.
not anymore.
Harry Styles cleaned up at the Grammys.
That's not a rock band.
Yeah, but he's a boy. He's a boy
He's
from
a
the
boy.
UK.
Yeah, it's close.
And he's from the north. He's
close.
ticking a lot of boxes, but he's
It's
going
close.
too much for the quality over the quantity. There
he's-
needs to be 4 of him. Get back in the band. Obviously,
he's
get,
the-
get
he's
back
the-
on
Get back
Liam
in the
RIP.
get back
Yeah.
in the splitter,
Oh,
You
Harry,
listen
until
to
there
the
are 4 of you.
Vamps. You can listen to the Vamps.
Oh, I once had a wee next to Connor from the Vamps at Smack in Leamington Spa, and I said, "Nice penis," and he said, "Nice penis." But it was
Really?
before he was famous.
Ah. He wouldn't say that now.
No, I think, to be honest, A, I don't think he'd be having a piss at Smack in Leamington Spa, and B, I probably wouldn't look at his cock if he was famous. You know what I mean?
Would you be more
respect.
normal
curious?
people.
Are you
Oh, look.
worried? Are you worried you'd be disappointed, like a Never Meet Your Heroes thing?
Yeah, well, I'm not a huge Vamps fan, but you know, if I was, maybe.
You know, just 2 normal blokes looking at each other's cocks at the urinal. You wouldn't do it to a famous geezer out of respect.
Absolutely not. It's totally fine to checkmate someone if it's just a normal guy. So watch out.
That's men supporting men.
Yeah.
That's as close as we get to like sharing mascara.
Harry Styles is filling in the kind of slightly that was missing for a bit, the David Bowie section of the kind of like androgynous.
Yeah.
Kind
Man
of-
pretending to be queer for money.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
queer baiting.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So,
say
But it was
that's what
okay
they're-
when David Bowie did it.
so that bit of the menus, we've got that.
What's that? Is that sides?
No,
Is that, like,
it's,
is
it's
that
like,
where like the pigs and blankets and like the roast potatoes are?
no, it's like chef's favorite or whatever. It's like
Chef's
it's got
what,
it's-
what menus are you looking at?
it's got its
Chef's
own
favorite.
as
It's
got
the
its own
food
little
guy, I
box.
can say that that's not a thing. I'll just drop some of that on you.
okay, it's plat du jour. Then.
Okay, fine. No, he's the fixed price, but
Yeah.
he's the supplemental 10 pounds extra cheese plate option on the fixed price menu that no
Sure,
one
sure,
gets.
It's on the
Sure, sure, sure.
blackboard.
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
blackboard, not
Yeah.
printed
But it's
menu.
that thing where like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
restaurant
It's
goes
special,
well.
but
Yeah.
They're trying to
anyone
get
can
rid
have
of it.
You know,
It's
like-
sell by date.
It's special,
and
but it's
also they're pushing it a lot.
it's weird. I'm going for this Sunday roast, and they keep shoving this bouillabaisse on me. I wouldn't trust a bouillabaisse on a Sunday.
Yeah.
No, not in a pub.
Never have
No.
fish on a Sunday.
No.
That's what Anthony Bourdain said.
Yeah, sure.
You earlier said you would toss up between a beef rump and a pork chop at a roast, and I can't abide a pork roast apart from belly, but like a pork
It has to
I
be
think
belly.
I was thinking of
Yeah.
belly. I'm afraid
Yeah.
I got the
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
I got my
Yeah.
cut
because
mixed up. I'm
sometimes when you
afraid.
get like
This
a
is happening
pork
because you
loin
decided
roast
to
and you're
do a
like, this
menu
is so
and
dry.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
I like how
I've been trying to figure out what's my entree to steer this towards food as basically as soon as we sat down.
Right.
I got so upset
Do
we
you
started
wanna talk
talking about
about food?
bands.
yeah, I was actually going to ask, is there a structure to
No.
No,
Is it
no,
just
that hasn't become clear by
Yeah, no,
now.
I was just thinking we've just done fucking, I don't know where it's, I mean, podcasts are good, aren't they?
What
Just
a medium.
Just have a chat, the lights are on, the cameras are on, just talk waffle.
Oh, they're not
It's
on.
exactly how you described it. Oh, shit.
Do you like waffles?
I adore them.
Really?
I adore a waffle, yeah. But
you-
I actually like potato waffles more than I like sweet waffles.
I agree
Yeah,
with
I
that.
can't do sweet breakfast.
Ooh.
Can't do sweet in the morning.
breakfast is for children or people that, well,
Yes.
I was going to say live in Essex.
I know.
I've seen your show, but look, you're not a normal one, are you? Let's be honest.
No, that is true.
But
well,
it's-
potato waffles is very my dad coded,
But look,
actually.
potato waffles, fantastic. But like creams, like the
Oh, yeah.
the like leather
The
seats.
dessert shop where it's a
Yeah.
nightclub from 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly that. That it's that I can't
No.
fuck
Can't be
with.
doing it.
Can
And I won't.
Yeah.
Can I please say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You did bring
No
up
way.
the creams. I must. I'm so sorry. Yesterday, I'm walking down Oxford Street, right? It's about
Mhm.
midday. I hear behind me someone screaming, "Motherfucker, motherfucker." And I think, someone's having a bad day, whatever. At some point, it's getting closer. I turn around. It's a man in a full suit screaming "motherfucker" on the phone. And I think, oh, well, here's a narrative, right? Then he's so fast, he overtakes me in front of me. Do you know on Oxford Street, they have all these dessert shops that were kind of taken place of the American Candy Store?
Yeah.
And it's called something like Cream Lab, and like there's no one there.
There's
Yeah.
always
And-
cream.
Right.
Like desserts with 2 Zs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's like
Cream Lab, so the dessert shop come porn studio. Yeah.
Cum porn studio. That sounds horrible.
we specialize in cum porn. Unlike
It's the
other
best
companies.
kind.
And they say,
Yeah.
doesn't all porn have cum? And they go, not like this.
Only at the end, but this one,
This one is from the start.
all the way through. It's,
Continuously.
it's a veritable swimming pool of semen. Olga, could you please finish telling us about the man in the suit, please? We got distracted by cum.
It wouldn't be the first time on this podcast. So it's just exciting that it wasn't me for once. So basically, he very aggressively is approaching Cream Lab, and there's a guy coming out of Cream Lab sort of to catch him, and he's just like, calm down. He's like trying to make a joke out of it, but this guy, he's not joking. He's still screaming, "motherfucker," onto the phone, and then he sort of pushes away the guy who was trying to calm him down. He takes, do you know how like velvet ropes are outside of places? I don't know why Cream Lab has a velvet rope.
In case of a
outside.
queue. Good to be
Yeah. There's a guy with an iPad.
The metal sort of.
No,
what
they
are
just
called?
do face control. It's like, yes, no, yes, yes. You too, not you.
Yeah.
Too many blokes in here this morning.
They do face control.
not
Who
denied.
looks like the hungriest boy?
Just like a rotund little kid in lederhosen
Yeah.
walks up with like a.
Right this way.
Wait,
Yeah.
right. Oh, we have a table right here, sir.
Get him to the front of the line. Anyone who shows up with a big bib and a knife and fork, front of the queue, get him in.
Only tourists go to Cream Lab on a Saturday night. You got to go to Cream Lab like Sunday morning, and you just got to look like you don't care if you want an ice cream or not.
Yeah,
But
but it's like
again, if it's
everyone thinks
Sunday,
you're
don't order the
supposed to
fish.
wear your like hungry little boy shirt, but you can change inside. They're looking for if you have a backpack.
Yeah.
Quite often something that doesn't get you into a place.
So,
And-
Or
So he's-
stadium.
he slaps this guy out of the way.
He slaps this guy. He sort of moves him out of the way. The metals, what are they called? Stands that connect the velvet rope. He throws one of them onto the street. Then he takes one of the chairs from outside. He brings it inside of Cream Lab and he throws it into Cream Lab. But it kind of feels like maybe he owns or runs the place.
Yeah.
And then he just, screaming "motherfucker" continuously, he goes all the way into the back, which made me think it's money laundering, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, what-
Dessert shop, Oxford Street, man yelling and throwing stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Well, because all the
100%.
'Cause there's no one there.
candy stores were all, but also it's like
It's a
the
subletting
knick-knack
scam.
stores. Like Oxford
Yeah.
Street is, I think even Primark, to an extent, is money laundering.
I was walking, and I kept walking down that same exact stretch, and then there was a couple outside of Primark with a giant suitcase putting in brand new stuff into the suitcase.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Go-
Well, a lot of people
What
go
is that?
to when there's shoots
From
when
abroad.
people are doing shoots. Quite often they'll go to Primark, like buy 200, 300 quid's worth of stuff,
And
take
then
it away in
return
a
it.
suitcase, and then come back and return it.
God,
even
could you
after-
fit 200, 300 quid's worth of stuff from Primark in a suitcase?
Well, I don't know. I'd probably have to get my girlfriend involved. She's much better at the sort of folding and the sort of. I'm not very good at it. I can't.
It's all
process.
soft.
The trick is to also get the suitcase at Primark.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
good stuff.
Some
yeah.
some stuff that is cheap here in the UK is weirdly not availably cheap in, say, the US.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
my uncle whenever he was in the UK, lived and worked in the US, he would always go to Marks and Spencer's and just buy all of their shirts, like suit shirts.
Oh, interesting. Are they not
Because
as
they
cheap
were
as
just
I feel
like
like clothes
so-
are cheap in the US.
No, just generic. He was just
Autograph?
like because in the
Yeah.
US, like if you buy like a relatively nice white like button down shirt for like wearing at the office, they are like dry clean only.
even at
They're like
Target?
$40 or
Oh.
they're like
Ah.
nice though. Like there's something about the quality. It was like you just can't really
That
get.
really surprised me because Americans famously don't iron.
No, but that's the thing is that you
They wanna iron.
yeah, but you watch you know
Did you say they
Seinfeld.
want to iron.
You
They
watch
don't want to
Seinfeld.
iron.
No.
They want to get non-iron shirts.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. They have a dry cleaner who they go to. You watch like American
right,
Psycho.
yeah,
you
yeah,
watch Seinfeld. They always have a
Well,
dry
that's a
cleaner.
bit different because
Yeah.
he's a
Well, he's a
rolling
murderer.
yuppie.
He's
Yeah.
got a lot of dry cleaning, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
But it's
You know the average American experience, like I don't know, just pulling one name out of a hat, Patrick Bateman.
yeah.
Taking
Seinfeld.
his suits in there like spaghetti pomodoro again, sir. Was it? Oh, sir is a terribly messy eater.
But genuinely, like you have to remember that in the UK we have a culture where you kind of have to wear a fucking suit to school.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
shirts, as an idea,
You are
are very
correct.
cheap,
You
available,
are right.
easy, and need to be so.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, it's like, oh, are you a senator? You want this crisp white shirt for your
Yeah.
job at fucking where?
I wore a royal blue 100% wool blazer to school, like I was in a Dickens novel.
Well, as in like that was the uniform.
Yeah.
Scratchy.
Oh, it was so
Oh, you must have
hot.
stunk.
There was like 1 month of the year when that was appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
they
Were
used
you
to
able
send
to
a
just,
memo around the school when we were allowed to take our blazers off on like a hot day.
Were you able
And
to
you'd be
like,
sat there waiting for it, the
They did
announcement.
that at my school
Yeah.
as well. Like, that's a weird.
What if you took it off at your desk? You take it off and hang it on your chair?
I think you were allowed to in lessons if the teacher allowed it. That was the rule. So, but then, because I remember then the only German that any of us bothered learning was, "Can I take my blazer off, please?" Because and it's the only German I still know to this day.
Come on.
Darf ich bitte meine Jacke aussehen? There you go. That's gonna get me into get me out of the weirdest situation one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be at Burgoyne.
No, you're
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah,
And
you're-
as you're receiving a blowjob,
or you're gonna be getting stuck up, but you've got like a concealed weapon under your blazer lapel, and you're just like, oh, that's right. Can I take my blazer off? Ha ha.
Yeah.
I can't believe what that
Throw
is
the
a
blazer.
reference
It's like, well,
to.
the
Get the
German
weapon.
muggers are very reasonable. He's asked politely.
Yes, of course you can take your blazer off.
I don't
This is-
see how that could be a problem for the mugging. Ach nein!
Is this going to facilitate you getting your wallet or billfold out your blazer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get my wallet out, please? Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was the time in Bergheim where the guy stuck his finger in my ass.
Well, that's pretty normal.
And
Isn't
I said, no, thank you.
Wait, but he'd already done it.
Yeah. And I realized.
That's not how consent works, is it? They need to.
No.
They need to know that.
Flip the order.
And I just,
Oh.
yeah.
Like you did everything.
thank you.
What you did ask, but
Yeah.
I
Flip it round.
had such a like moment of like philosophical realization that this country is like deeply imprinted on my brain because I really just quite equably went like, oh no, thank you. I feel like in a way that like I should have been like outraged
What
or something.
the
but
fuck
like,
are you doing?
I was like, oh no, yeah, I can understand the mix up here, but no, thank
But the
you.
context is also important.
someone once tried
Yeah.
to mug me, and I said no, thank you.
That's like baller move though.
Wait, did it
just being
work?
like, oh no, I don't do that.
Sort of.
It worked.
Sort of. I said no, thank you, and then ran, but my AirPods fell out of my ears.
Oh,
so they kept
no.
the AirPods.
Without the case, though.
Without the case, I kept the case.
So
Joke's
you're,
on them!
yeah.
Try pairing it to your phone now, asshole.
So you're like a lizard, but with AirPods instead of a tail.
Yeah. They can listen to your music if they run after you until the AirPods run out of battery.
Or
Yeah.
if I keep playing it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to be rude. I will keep playing, Speedy J 8-hour mix.
Play them the Glue Factory podcast.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, so
someone-
this happened outside the Flatiron. We were talking about Flatiron earlier.
Yeah.
This happened outside Flatiron on Caledonian Road.
Are
Was it
people
a-
still going to Flatiron? Because that was like a real thing.
It was
a
couple
real
of years
thing.
ago.
We were discussing this deal.
Oh,
What was
okay.
the app called?
So it was a thing for if you worked in hospitality, and I had a couple of casual hospitality jobs, and so I got enabled on it from one, and then I was like helping out at someone else's pop up for a while, and I was like, okay, well I'm still like occasionally getting paychecks from hospitality, so as long as I was doing that, I kept it. And it was a thing where like on Monday to Thursday, you would get just the most insane discounts at restaurants, including 50% off your total bill including booze, at
Whoa.
Flatiron.
Oh wow.
That's
Which is
crazy.
insane.
And don't they have
'cause-
like free ice
That's
cream
nuts.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
used to give
do.
you a little
And-
cone, didn't
Yeah,
they?
and it would be, and they gave you like a little, they gave you like a little
Cleaver.
cleaver.
Yeah,
the
cleaver.
little cleaver.
Yeah.
So I used to go to the
I forgot
one.
about the
knife
cleaver.
I used to go to the
Yeah.
one on Denmark Street all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Is it still? I feel like
It's
no one has
definitely-
mentioned
No,
Flatiron
they're
in years.
still
No.
they're opening.
I think they got bought by a private equity firm because they're expanding everywhere.
Yeah,
That's what happens with every restaurant in
up.
London.
Okay.
Like
make
it used
it
to.
bigger, make it worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely.
It's why there's a
As soon as there's three of a thing, I'm like, oh, that doesn't
Oh,
sound like
with
an
one-
Remember when
independent
Lena
eatery.
stores was cool?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do nice ham.
The
Yeah.
Pierre Novelli
Also,
line of penis
surely,
pumps.
Three. Make it bigger,
Make it bigger, make it worse.
Okay.
Do a whole little
Slightly
jingle.
misshapen. Yeah.
There are three noble rots though. They have not got worse.
Yeah.
That's the exception.
That's okay.
I've-
Maybe three's the max.
Yeah.
I've
Three
had,
is
if
possibly
If they made a
the
fourth noble rot, number one, where would they make it?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
number two, it might get worse.
Noble rots like The Godfather.
Yeah.
I actually.
The Jackson Boxer Restaurant Empire has I believe 3.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I think if there's an empire being built and it's all individual places with individual chefs, individual teams, I
Yeah.
think that you can actually retain quality.
Yes.
Mhm.
But it's when it's the same
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing that it's impossible to control quality across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look at Nando's, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, or McDonald's actually is a better example of this. I know it's franchise or whatever, but you know that you're going to have a good McDonald's from somewhere if it's the kind of McDonald's you want. But you also know that other McDonald's are shit.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't really, you'd think with something like that, the base level of
Yeah.
what it should be should always be that.
That's interesting. I find McDonald's is remarkably standardized. You get
Oh,
wrong.
Whereas
Wrong.
like
I'm saying.
Burger King,
Wrong.
fucking
Wrong.
free for
Thank
all.
you. You know, I was in that fucking Waterloo station, and I sinned against myself. I got a Burger King
Oh,
because
it's
I was
so
going to take a
bad.
train. so
well,
it's tradition.
It's a treat.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be nice. It's a royalist burger, but no.
Yeah, you'd think you would trust a King's Burger more than the Clown's.
Yeah, well, you would, the Jester.
The Jester's
Yeah.
Burger.
Jester's privilege.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
wank.
it was whatever the fucking
The
chicken
Whopper.
one is.
Oh, the chicken
but it
sauce.
came with
Oh.
bacon.
Royale?
The bacon that came on it with.
Mm.
It was like so cold.
Like straight out of the fridge.
It came out of a freezer. It was so cold. It was like it would have been refreshing on a hot day. It was so ice cold.
They
Ice
made you the
cold.
whole burger and then they've gone,
Oh
oh,
shit!
fuck,
bacon.
we haven't put the
Fuck.
bacon in. And just
Yeah.
go, oh, we won't cook it.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
like
Can I get the iced chicken supreme,
Just
please?
like
Just in the
ice-
ice summer, you know.
ice
On the
cold
rocks.
bacon?
Yeah, they shake it up for you.
Completely solid American cheese, the most meltable cheese. You could melt it with a sigh.
Oh.
They haven't fucking done it, and you just go, "This is." I was ready to have a bad time eating this, and I'm still upset.
And it was worse.
It's worse.
That's a shame.
Nando's is South Africa's most confusing export.
It's Portuguese themed, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's sort of colonial Portuguese themed because the
Who
kind of
doesn't
spice-
associate us with Portuguese food?
Well, it's
Not
Mozambique and Angola. It's the
Yeah.
peri,
Oh,
the
right,
peri
yeah,
peri.
yeah, yeah.
The chili is from Africa.
And that's why they have the AK-47 on the Nando's flag.
That's it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
That's why when you go into a Nando's, everyone
It's
here's like,
actually Le Coq de Barcelos. I used to holiday in Portugal.
yeah. But then you go into a Nando's and everyone's like, I thought it was Portuguese. But if you go in, it's got like African
Well, you fucking go in
music
and they're
playing. in it.
it's African music. They're serving Superbock and Sagres.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
you know,
very
they're
confusing.
doing Portuguese rolls, but then like, it's a very confused.
In South
thing.
Africa, Nando's is
Hmm.
like you would never sit in. It would be
Really?
like,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
you know when you like everyone's favorite fact is like, oh, in Japan you have to like book a table at KFC or whatever.
Is that a thing?
And
Well, you do
especially
it only
I'm
on
not
Christmas
going
Day.
on Christmas Day.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's like it's much more.
But
of
only
a-
because everyone's going.
let's all
Or
go
like how
sit.
in China, Pabst Blue Ribbon is like very luxurious.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Stella in America. The amount of
Yeah.
times I was offered Stella in New York by like, oh, well, you're British. We've got this fancy import beer.
Belgian
Yeah.
lager.
Stella.
Yeah.
I'm like, ah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. So in South Africa, Nando's is like you'd barely be asked to drive through. You know,
Well,
it's
they
just
just
like
throw it at you.
yeah, just like oh yeah, okay, it's kind of like a McDonald's level, like Burger King level thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in the UK, the idea of having grilled chicken that doesn't have bread all over it is such a incredible revolution.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we have to sit down for this. This chicken's got a bone in it.
Fetch me the napkins.
There's
I'll
a
take
bone
an
in it.
unlimited
It's a
refill.
restaurant. Yeah.
My question is are any of those so is McDonald's franchised
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Burger King
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nando's?
I don't know about
I
Nando's.
don't think Nando's
is. I can't
Fascinating.
imagine it is.
Yeah.
I went to a McDonald's in New Zealand that was on a plane.
Oh yeah.
What?
It was well. Look, I feel like when you go to another country and as a Brit, you know everyone's gonna think you're a twat, no matter what. Like even if I think I'm a bit of a twat, but maybe not like a huge twat. But if you're English, people are gonna hear your voice. They're gonna go, "Oh, there's a twat over there."
You just got to stand near some Americans, and they'll like take.
Well,
the
that's
flak.
the only thing. Tourism is Americans are the worst, and then I think it's quite a big space between the Brits, but like the Brits are the second worst.
Oh, Germans have got to be.
Germans
in
are
there.
also
yeah.
bad because obviously they steal people's
Sun lounges.
sun and land actually, depending on where we're looking.
Don't be a German tourist in the Sudetenland.
Absolutely,
not very
absolutely
popular.
But basically, yeah, there's this McDonald's on Lake Topor, which is this huge, beautiful lake, and it looks out on the lake, and it's really beautiful. And then behind it, they've just got a fucking actual plane that is the place that you can take your food and go and eat. And the novelty of that, let me tell you,
Yeah.
did not wear off
that
after
is
20
cool.
minutes.
Because you've obviously never eaten on a plane before.
I have never eaten a McDonald's on a plane. And I don't like eating on planes, so
Oh.
So it's only you.
You got to check out stand-up comedy.
In terms of eating McDonald's on a plane, it's just you and the president of the United States and like his coterie.
Yeah,
That's how they could advertise this New Zealand McDonald's. It's like it's a president simulator.
Yeah, eat like you've just been hired out of nowhere to be the minister for the interior or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met this guy. We had lots to talk about. He's.
Well, it's good actually because it's quite a big space, and everyone in there was just a tourist that was talking about how amazing it was to be eating a McDonald's on a plane. Like, and I was there like,
and that's
with
on
my-
the ground.
Yeah,
You
I was
can
there
just do that at Stansted. There's a McDonald's
Yeah.
at the Stansted. You
Yeah,
can bring it with you.
I've done that.
They
actually.
won't
I
let
have
you
brought
bring it
McDonald's
on.
onto
Yes,
a
they
plane with
will.
me.
What are you
Really?
fuck are you talking
of course
about?
they
Of
will.
course
If you
can.
buy it
Standards
in the
and
There's no
Excellent.
airport.
outside food on the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a McDonald's
Surely.
at Stansted?
No, there's a Burger King at Stansted.
Yeah, well, this
No,
is the
but there-
problem. No one wants to eat a fucking Burger King anywhere, really,
No.
apart from
Dumb
you at
sound.
fucking Waterloo for some
Disgusting.
I think they
I
do
let
it
myself
horrible
down.
reason.
They,
Yeah,
yeah, they
There's a
don't.
McDonald's at Barcelona airport.
Yeah.
That's
Ah.
true, and you can get
Yeah.
the little shaky things to
Yeah.
put on the chips. It's a
You
good
can live this
Yeah.
dream.
Burger
Maybe-
King.
maybe
they-
I'll
They
do
should
that.
they should franchise Flatiron so there are as many as McDonald's.
They should
Yeah.
put
You should be
flat
able-
irons in airports.
They
is what
should
they
put
should do.
Flatiron. You could take the cleaver because that's an
Yes.
inside. You got the cleaver in the
Well, it's like a
airport, so it's like a
plastic
safety
cleaver.
cleaver.
Well, no, I think they were metal, but also they do fit into the category of blades that you are able to bring on a plane.
And
Really?
then
Yeah, 'cause they're
then
less
they
than an
could
inch.
they could also put
He
they,
studied the blade.
they could put flat irons in like in rest stops and laybys and so on.
Yeah.
You know, so you could just be like, yeah, I'll have 2 steaks and you can just eat them on your car dashboard.
There you go.
I've had ice cream in one of those.
Can I have a
money
Can I have a
laundering
Nero
places.
Davila
Ice
shake?
cream way, sorry.
I've had ice cream in one of those money laundering dessert shops before.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually tried the produce.
And
It was
They were like, "Would you like the special topping?"
they were just they were baffled to see me,
Hmm.
and to see any customer, I imagine. It was a very hot day, and I walked past
They were
one.
like,
and I
"Pierre,
thought,
are you trying to start a rock band with 3 other men?"
Yeah, from the north?
Yeah.
Have you got a bunch of scousers standing behind you? I hope so. No, I was walking past one on a hot day, and I thought, well, they do sell ice cream. So I got like 3 different flavors in scoops, and they all tasted the same, which was of nothing. And they were very
The
brightly
fucking
colored.
Sam Fender ice cream shop. That was your mistake.
And I went crazy. I was like bubble gum and fucking mango and
Why?
to have an adventure
Riley's
with
so
my
upset.
mouth.
Because it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to put those flavors together.
And yet,
and yet it did.
human freedom.
Yeah.
you
didn't-
played God. You played God at the ice cream shop again.
but none of them had any taste.
Mm.
Okay, can I ask what they're laundering money for? Is it drugs?
Probably drugs.
Presumably
It's
drugs.
always drugs, isn't it? Really?
Or just
Yeah.
anything from like money from
Could be
Mm.
weapons.
anything abroad.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Just cars, just stolen cars.
Also, it's
yeah.
also
Body
it's a
part.
tax avoidance thing because what you do is you incorporate the business, rent everything,
Yeah.
and then you've got a year and 9 months before you have to file accounts. And so all of the different businesses all tend to turn over at the same time to new kinds of businesses because they're all closing down within their year and 9 months before they have to file accounts. So they transact primarily in cash,
Yeah.
and then they never file their accounts because they just close before they have
Yeah.
to. And then all of a sudden you have a bunch of nice. The problem is you have a bunch of nice explainable money, but if the explanation for your money is I was paid £10,000 in cash for 2 scoops of Tutti Frutti ice cream at my Oxford Circus like Creams location, then that should also arouse quite a bit of suspicion.
Yeah, we're not saying Creams is doing money laundering.
Was Riley the man in the suit that you saw?
Motherfucker!
I thought he was £10,000 a scoop. Fuck!
That's actually just, it's like the one guy
You
who's trying to
gave him
make
bubblegum
money.
and mango.
He's not in drugs at all, but he's trying to make money with really overpriced ice cream. And he's like,
This was supposed to be truffle flavored. We're pushing the boundaries of what you can do with fucking medium.
sell, sell, sell.
Not every ice cream has to be fucking dessert. Do I have to send you back to San fucking Sebastian?
I like that.
You've got to tell them it's worth it because of the fucking ingredients. Okay, there's no fucking E numbers in it.
But they just say like 10,000 scoops and just dump it down into the sewer, right? All
I
the
mean,
ice
that's
cream.
the business just needs to exist.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're from Timbuk fucking Shanghai. You sell them a fucking ice cream.
But also,
They're holiday makers. They want a scoop.
My plan to make Mugaritz 2 on Oxford Street dessert only is going to go ahead.
Well, think about how easy it would be for like a good restaurant if it were to open on Oxford Street to charge such ridiculous prices and hit them with that argument. Oh, well, you should see our overheads, because people are doing that in Hackney.
Yeah.
People are doing that in sort of. Well, I think it's moved to Walthamstow now as well. It's an epidemic of we can charge £40 for a quite small plate of food because of the overheads, and it does make sense, but. Fuck me, they'd have a good argument if they managed to get a spot on Oxford Street. The rent there's through the roof.
Well, that's
Fine dining in Walthamstow is a fucked vibe, isn't it? Like, we do mostly like locally sourced stuff. Would you like to try our elderly greyhound burger?
The fox that we found dead in a pond.
It would be very
Frida
fun.
Canal.
It would be,
Would you like? I can grade a little shopping trolley on that if you like.
it is very amusing to because like these businesses all have to turn over, and it was like souvenirs and then sweets and now ice cream. If like they just like one of their idiot sons is just like, no, we're gonna do small plates now.
Yeah.
We're gonna do money laundering small plates.
I'd go and I'd do a fucking review of it.
Yeah, you go in and it's like £300, but the £300 thing is it's like, oh yeah, it is strips of, it's our version of eggs and soldiers. It is a preserved egg yolk that we've packed in salt, and then that's actually, we have a fermented kimchi ketchup that we serve that along some house-made brioche soldiers.
Yeah.
And it's £400.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, actually, I'd probably swerve that, but
Haute cuisine full English, like potato waffle made entirely out of rosty.
Okay, what is your small plate they're using to money launder?
Okay. Well, it would have to be a classic, wouldn't it? It would have to be like fish and chips or something. It has to be
reinterpreted. It's like our version. Here's our version of fish and chips.
It would have to be that, because I mean, there are shit fish and chip shops near Oxford Street that will make an absolute killing. Actually, I wouldn't even be surprised if they were money laundering situations, because they're not making. But
one big battered potato disc, and then next to it, all the fishes in like chip shapes.
Fish fingers and one big baked potato.
Reverse it. That would.
Reverse
I think it would have to. Some take on fish and chips. There would definitely be stupid people that would.
All patatas bravas is money laundering.
Okay.
It's just theft. That's not really
maybe
laundering.
in London, right? Yeah. But I fucking there's
£9.50 or whatever for less than a whole potato.
It's literally
in cubes.
just potato
Fuck
with catering a 5 kilo thing of Hellman's mayonnaise dumped on it, bit of garlic, fucking bit of hot sauce. But I watched it was probably Vice YouTube show about this guy in Barcelona who he makes patatas bravas, but he uses some of the world's best olive oil to deep fry the potatoes.
Right.
And deep frying
The
in olive oil.
smoke point is too low.
The smoke point is too. It's a fucking stupid idea, but he makes the best patatas bravas in the world by doing this long, slow fry. It was cool. It was a cool show. I don't really know how we're going to lead on from this. I just really like the video.
Yeah, it just sounds good.
Learn about the guy.
If he can do it and avoid the oil smoking, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
Something I would enjoy.
Yeah, and I would pay £10 for a portion of his patatas bravas.
I'd be happy to do it because it involved sort of a labor-intensive process to figure out how to do it. It probably tastes different from a normal one that's fried in sunflower oil. That's fine. I wouldn't do it every day, but I'd do it once so I could be like, oh, I'll try it.
You'll accept.
Yeah.
It's like that's like how
There's
I
a-
feel about cars. I'm
there-
like, if you're spending 30 grand on a car, it better be fucking sick.
Yeah.
If you spend 30 grand on a car and it's like it's got a Ford badge on it, I'm like, what's going on? What's happened here?
Yeah.
I'm like, who
And it's not
tricked
even
you?
a Ford. It's a Renault Clio,
It's
but it's
glued
got a
on.
Ford
Yeah.
badge on it and you paid 30 grand for it.
We've rebadged a Renault Clio
Yeah.
as a Ford.
Like people who are
what
buying
some people are calling the most lateral move ever made.
people who are buying the top of the line MGs. I'm like, what's going on here?
What's
I'm
an
like,
MG?
Oh, it's an old British make of car, but it got bought by the Chinese, and now the Chinese are experimenting with how bad you can make a car, but people will still buy it. I got given one as a courtesy car, and the windscreen wipers stopped working on the motorway. New car.
Ooh.
Just
What's
like,
MG short for?
I think it's one of these things that's just short for nothing.
I think it probably was short for something, but
At
it's
some point.
it's a
Like
really
DHL.
really old
Motor garage.
Yeah. It's probably literally
It's like
yeah.
such an old car company that back then the phrase motor garage was like saying spaceport. Like just like
Yeah.
wow. Wow. And they shortened it to MG when it became embarrassing in the 50s.
Spaceport
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like
yeah.
an interesting drink.
Yeah,
I've
sort
had
of
one.
glowing port
Yes.
from a twisty alien
Yeah.
bottle.
or a sort of, I thought you were going to say
Sends
alien
you into
breast.
orbit.
I thought-
Yeah.
we were gonna go
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But it's like in Star Trek when they go, "Oh, would anyone like some Romulan ale?" And you go, "Right, is it beer, but you've made it blue?" Or, you go, yeah,
Yeah.
We put food coloring in beer.
Please.
Spaceport.
Drink it.
I'd love
The,
that.
the Symingtons buy even more real estate.
Yeah. Spaceport also
Yes,
feels
I
like
can
it could
finally
be...
do food industry inside baseball in the show. I've been waiting for a long time to do this.
Are you a big baseball guy? No?
Food inside baseball would be like food industry talk.
Oh.
Right.
Inside baseball being God damn it.
No, I know
Sorry,
what
I
inside
thought-
baseball is.
I-
I just realized
Yeah,
how
yeah,
he
yeah.
misunderstood you.
Yeah.
Sorry, food.
I thought we were about
we
to talk
could
about
cut it-
baseball for a
cut
while.
the
I was really
explanation of
looking
what
forward to
inside
that 'cause I
baseball
know
is, of course, because that
a lot about
kills
baseball.
the momentum.
Are you a baseball guy?
Fuck no, but I
No.
did, I
No.
did a load of work for MLB.
Did you?
So I got to go and like.
For a second I thought you said
What?
Mel B. I was like, how does that relate?
Well, that would have been good.
Yeah.
But I don't think she likes baseball.
Well, you were trying to get her into it. That was your
Well,
job for the MLB.
That was the YouTube series. It was me and Mel B trying to.
Yeah, they
Hang on
really
a
want
minute, let me
Mel
write
B.
this down. Fuck.
I'm Mel B, and you're watching the MLB. I mean, that would be great.
They should have got her instead. Actually, they do like the UK, the London series of baseball where they have like two random teams from the US come and play baseball, and fucking weird people that are British that like baseball come and watch that. And they do it at the West
Yeah.
Ham Stadium.
Virgins, yeah.
So I actually probably shouldn't say this, but it's fine because I haven't worked with them in a year. But I went over to America I went to Chicago and St. Louis one year, and then Philadelphia and New York to do like a food show about baseball, food inside baseball.
Mhm.
So I was like,
I can see how
Yeah.
Cracker
No,
I
you
Jack.
literally
can
had
see
done-
how my
Yeah, it
use
was-
of the colloquial term inside
Yeah.
baseball to mean I can talk about food industry stuff with the guest on the
I
show
did
finally.
think it was weird that that's something that you wanted to do, but hey,
Yeah.
So it's like if he'd said food behind the scenes and you'd done an entire project with a chain of theaters about what actors eat in between.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you know about this?
Fuck, it's a Frasier misunderstanding.
I need to start writing some of this stuff down. It's good ideas for a series. But yeah, fucking went over to America, ate loads of food, learnt some stuff about baseball.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The nation's favorite pastime. But yeah, that was.
You could do a really depressing series on what comedians eat.
I would love to do.
It's a
that.
Yeah.
lot of McDonald's with
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Is
Mm.
it?
Actually, this reminds me. Can I swing it back to franchises again? We've
Please.
actually looped back around because we were talking about how Burger King is often fucked.
Yeah.
And it's because the franchises, there's no oversight.
Yeah.
The king is sclerotic. He's on the throne.
weak.
His viziers are all scheming about who will succeed.
There's no
him.
centralized power in the
Yeah.
Burger
Yeah,
King.
yeah.
The
He's-
king is more of a sort of authority for settling disputes between semi-autonomous.
Ritual.
Yeah.
It's like
He's
the Holy
not-
Roman Emperor more than a king.
Yeah. Like the Burger King at Membry Services has not seen the king since the 70s. Like they are riffing it.
It is pure. It is purely a semi-autonomous Margravate. A new heresy has emerged there. There's a dancing
Exactly,
plague.
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you go to a Burger King and they're just selling toothpaste
Yeah.
and like
Oh, yeah.
phone chargers and stuff. Just make it up.
Every Burger King is
Makes
like
sense.
fucking Pitcairn Island. Like there's notionally central control, but it's like they're doing some fuck stuff. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
the one on Barry Island is selling a Happy Meal.
oh, you won't be happy after that. But yeah, but what I realize is the shit franchising, it's like spreading, like because you know that like Sainsbury's locals are franchised.
What?
I didn't know that.
That's they can control their own prices, which is why the one I went to uni in Nottingham, and in Lenton, the one in Nottingham was like voted the most expensive Sainsbury's local in the whole of the UK.
I love that voted like it's a matter of opinion.
It was a vote. They took a vote. I took a vote with my housemates, and we decided that it was a bit expensive.
So what were they ripping you off on? Student stuff? Beer?
Well, it was just like everything. Everything was probably about £1 more expensive than it was like when I go up and visit a mate in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Although I was going north, and I suppose that does happen.
But
there were more rock bands the further
There were
north
so
you
many
went.
more rock bands, and a lot of them were experimenting with drugs.
We can afford to be a rock band up here because the olive oil's cheaper.
Yeah, well, oh God. Don't get me started on the price of olive oil.
You know, do you know how much I got this pack of bombs for? Yeah. Yeah. And then you were like, sorry? What?
Excuse me, what do you mean? You do a 3-hour debate on what the fuck you call this sphere of
that
bread?
debate and the fucking jam versus cream thing.
Yeah.
It's scones.
Jam versus cream on
It's
Oxford
low
Street. I know
hanging
the
fruit,
one.
and someone's mashing it up
Yeah,
and sticking it
that's
on a
right.
scone
You-
and then putting cream.
You
on
say
top.
you're tired of there being no rock bands, but you're already deciding on a battle of the bands between Eric Clapton's Cream and the band The Jam.
Yeah. Perfect. What a tour that is.
Oh my God.
First, he started not as a circus guy, but he had the P.T. Barnum's American Museum.
Right.
And then he just like
And it was a traveling museum.
no, it was in New York, but it kept on getting burned down by Confederates.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, they just hated museums. That was their like two
They
things.
kept
was-
running out of toilet paper.
they hate.
That's
they
what this
hated-
war is about for us. We hate circuses.
Luckily, it does make very good kindling.
Not slavery, nothing to do with slavery.
It's about states' rights and banning the circus. Those are the two things we believe in.
He saw himself as like a
The flag of Alabama is just a big like lion with a cross through it.
the cross is on fire. And I saw.
That's why we hate the French, because of the clowns. We never eat at McDonald's.
Tain't natural.